我用我28年的生命看到了他们的堕落。
中纪委书记王岐山和公安部常务副部长傅政华如何会毁掉中国？
不能是真正的腐败者去所谓就反腐，那可能是真反腐吗？
郭文贵就是一面镜子，不但照妖，还照假。真的假不了，假的真不了，一切都是刚开始。谢谢。
我不是什么神秘。
On January 26, 2017, Miles decided to sit in front of the camera. This marked his first ever public interview, making him the first Chinese individual to openly defy the Chinese Communist Party on camera and speak out against it. At this time, Miles's concerns extended beyond his family and career. He had abandoned all he had accomplished in the first half of his life and ventured onto a path that was both more difficult and more meaningful. Yet the core of the CCP responded to Miles's actions with a mixture of anger and fear, determined to erase him completely. In addition to being interviewed by certain overseas Chinese media outlets, Miles launched the whistleblower movement on YouTube, utilizing live streams and short videos to share his story. Twitter also became his platform for sharing disclosure whistleblowing documents. However, the CCP's efforts to suppress Miles had already reached the United States. In April 2017, his Twitter account faced its first temporary suspension, even though Miles had already amassed a considerable number of followers. On April 17, 2017, the CCP issued a red notice against Miles in an attempt to discredit him globally. In comparison to the scarce coverage of Miles's revelations, this news was extensively broadcast by major media outlets in China. 2 days later, the Voice of America interview was abruptly terminated by the host due to Miles's attempt to disclose information about the Wang Xishan family and Hainan Airlines. This marked the first instance of a broadcast interruption since VOA began airing in 1942. The host verified in subsequent interviews that they had been instructed by senior CCP officials to abruptly terminate the program. The former senior CCP official, Liu Yanpeng, repeatedly sought to arrange another meeting with Miles in an attempt to achieve reconciliation. He tried to persuade Miles to cease his public revelations by appealing to his and Miles's personal relationship and emphasizing national security concerns. As a CCP representative, Liu Yanping also promised to release his family and employees.
这个郭美和他母亲，他们娘俩就要到你这儿去团聚了。我们也营造点好的氛围。大家都冷静一下。你要敢跟我拍胸脯，说从5月3号，从明天开始，你就不发声了。我今天夜里边我不睡觉，我去一家一家去跑去。我也能保证，明天开始，这边也什么声音都没有。
While it may seem like Liu was acting in good faith, this would prove to be the brewing of a deceitful scheme. In May 2017, Miles's family and Liu, along with CCP officials, flew from Beijing to New York. Little did Liu know that the scheme he and 3 other CCP operatives devised to secretly arrest Miles had already come under surveillance by the U.S. government. On May 24th, Liu and 3 other CCP operatives were stopped by the FBI on their way to Washington, where they were informed that they had violated U.S. laws. Despite the fact that the CCP was instructed not to meet Miles again and were given 48 hours to leave the United States, they did not comply. Liu contacted Miles and arranged to meet again the following day. Soon after their meeting, Liu hurriedly left for the airport. Upon their arrival at the airport, the FBI seized all of their electronic devices. The FBI also reached out to Miles to inquire about his situation. Due to the FBI's intervention, Miles's wife and daughter were able to remain in the United States. Unfortunately, Liu Yanping's departure did not mark the end of the CCP's activities. Another high-ranking CCP official, Sun Lijun, who was in Washington at the time, had a tactical conversation with Miles in yet another attempt to coerce Miles to return to China.
文贵兄啊，你还真的这次是误解我了。我来呢是美国司法部邀请的，主 主要就是来谈这个网络安全合作的。而且呢，我到了美国之后呢，已经跟他们谈了2轮了，谈的也都不错。你也可以问他们，在谈的过程当中，包括 FBI 也在，我只字未提郭文贵3个字。
He lied. He was in New York and building up his connections for a new plan, lobbying for Miles's deportation.